Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the NWR Virtual Investor Conference Series 11. I'm your host, Banjo Blake, and next up we have Scout Security. Scout Security sells the Scout Alarm, a self-installed wireless home security system that is making security more modern, open, and affordable. Scout was recognized as one of Forbes' best home security companies of 2022 and was named best for custom notifications and alarms in 2021 by US News and World Report. Presenting for Scout today is CEO Ryan McCall and founder and executive director Dan Roberts. Attendees are reminded that they can submit questions via the Q&A panel on Zoom, and we will address these at the end of today's session. Thanks for joining me today, gents. Please take it away.
Excellent. Thank you, Banjo. And thank you, NWR, and everyone who has attended tonight. So let me put this into presentation mode for you, and we'll get going. As Banjo said, my name is Ryan McCall. I'm the CEO of Scout Security, ASX SCT. And with me is our founder, Daniel Roberts. We're both sitting here in the Chicago time zone here in the US. So to give you a little background about Scout, where we work, what we work on, how we do these things, and our business and where we're going to grow. So background is Dan founded Scout here in Chicago back about 9 years ago, and then back in 2017 listed us on the ASX. So Scout at its core is a DIY home security company, but or IoT company. But now today it's so much more than that, encompassing SaaS, software, services, very powerful platform where we both sell direct to consumer as well as white label, which is the focus of the main portion of our business. And we'll get into that a little bit more. But the whole idea here is that bringing home security more affordable and more accessible to people around the world. Really, we operate both in the U.S. and Latin America currently, and are constantly expanding our business. So some background about the industry. So the home security, DIY home security market is estimated to grow to 11 billion by 2027. That's almost a 20% CAGR over that time period, currently valued at $3.3 billion, of which we are currently a smaller part, but have plans, and we'll show momentarily, quite the plan to grow. The way we operate is through monthly recurring revenue, as well as hardware sales. The main focus, though, unlike many IoT companies, is not selling the component. It is subscription fees that consumers can purchase on a monthly or an annual basis, but then turns into annualized recurring revenue. That is where our growth is, and that is how we plan to be sustainable, and we are sustainable. Some of our key partners that we're currently working with through various channels of distribution, white label partners. Prosegur is a Spanish company, which focuses on currently Latin America and our DIY home security. Prosegur is a traditional security company that realized as professional security installations are declining, DIY or home self-install installations are increasing. And to bring themselves into that space, instead of building out and creating a solution from scratch, they partnered with Scout. Prosegur operates on our software, our service, and our hardware that we white label for them. Likewise, Windstream is a US-based ISP, internet service provider. Windstream serves over 1.4 million customers, mostly in the southeastern United States. Similarly, Windstream was looking to increase their overall revenue by adding new forms of recurring monthly. So new channels, new ways to reach their customers, new ways to upsell their customers. And their main focus on that was, again, DIY home security. Very common in the US for the largest ISPs to sell a home security offering of some form or another. Well, Windstream came to us and through a very detailed RFP process and negotiations came out with, again, our white label solution, where they sell our service white label for Windstream under the Kinetic brand, and that includes also, again, our applications and our backends. So along with all of this, we have some of the best integrations within the industry. IFTTT, Amazon, Google, work with Nest, pretty much any third-party hardware that allows it, we can and do integrate with. So the reason why DIY home security is so important and why we're becoming so successful in the industry. So most traditional home security solutions are professionally installed. which means the hardware is very expensive. It means it's very inflexible. You can't take it with you. Everything is basically wired into your household. You have to pay for the installation. You're tied into long-term contracts. Essentially, all of the hardware only works within that one ecosystem. So very inflexible, not good for multifamily units, not good for renters. That's how DIY home security solves. It solves all of those problems, essentially. So looking at the market itself, really alarm penetration is extremely low, yet demand is extremely high. What you see is that the US at just over 20% is the highest penetrated market in the world, right? And that's only 20%, meaning that there's a huge, huge realm for all the markets that we currently serve, being the United States, Canada, and Latin America, as well as everywhere else around the world. Certain, say, geos come with their own complications, if you will, in terms of DIY home security. But in general, the solution here is cheaper, more flexible, and growing. You see on the chart on the other side, year over year, every year since 2018, self-installed home security has been increasing while professionally installed has been decreasing. We are now at over 55% of the entire market is DIY home installations. So how we operate. So we operate by providing the development, the equipment, the supply chain contracts, the hardware, the support, and everything you can think of to allow any partner of ours to launch their own DIY home security solution. This includes the app development, Android, iOS, web app, the backend, the servers, the APIs, the hardware, the supply base, the contractual negotiations in terms of minimum order quantities, product cost, shipping, payment terms, all of that. So that's the software and the hardware, plus the integrations, all the integrations that I previously mentioned with different other service providers, including Amazon and Google. And then that leads to what you want to see in the recurring revenue side. So traditionally, you'd self-monitor, and self-monitoring actually still can come with a fee, but there's fees for video cloud storage to back up your cameras, your doorbells, your indoor cameras, your outdoor cameras, 24/7 home security monitoring. So an issue comes up, someone breaks into your house, you hit the panic button. This calls the 24/7 security monitoring, who dispatches fire, EMT, and police. And then any other partner service offerings that we can combine with this. So we offer the end-to-end entire solution to any partner interested or willing to white label. How we make our money, essentially development fees, hardware, and recurring revenue, recurring subscription fees. So regularly, when our partners want to white label, there is extensive development work that has to happen in the back end before they can go to market. That includes redesigning the app to their needs, integrating any other third-party hardware, and relabeling the white label itself of the application. So for all of that, we are paid hardware engineering fees, or what we call NRE, non-recurring engineering. Then there's the hardware sales. So we make margin on all hardware that we sell, both to our end consumers and to our white label partners. So upfront hardware purchases by our white label partners usually are quite large. In some instances due to minimum order quantities, some instances due to long lead times because of COVID shipping delays, supply chain constraints. And then also because they want to go to market with enough hardware to get them through an extended period of time as they ramp the service up. And then lastly is the recurring subscription fee. So this again comes in the terms of 24/7 monitoring and the video cloud storage. So we make revenue and margin on every single one of these things. So selling through our brand and white label channels. As mentioned, we are founded as a direct-to-consumer company. We still sell direct-to-consumer. You can go directly on our website, buy our hardware, download our app, install it, and DIY home, install all of your security system yourself. But white labeling is the future of the business for us. That's with ProSecure, greater than 500,000 alarms installed worldwide. Again, with them focusing us on Latin America. Windstream, greater than 1.4 million household subscribers for high-speed internet in the United States. And Zego, which is basically a multi-development unit access company. So they work with us for branded home security to install our solution in the individual units of their MDUs. And also growing wildly, and as we discuss with other MDU providers, expect that to be a growing channel for us as well. So there's a lot on this slide. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through the entire thing. We'll be able to have this on replay and can feel free to ask questions. But this is a bit of an example of how we create sustainable and substantial revenue. So when you look at simply an example here of 1 million potential customer base, reminder, Windstream is 1.4, and a 10% penetration rate, which we're meeting or exceeding with all of our partners. So that'd be 100,000, right? Hardware sales, two scenarios here: entry level and full service. Entry level being camera, full service being full home security. 10% margin, which we are realizing. Margin on the hardware, RMR per customer. So this is all very baked out in here. $1.35 in the entry level, RMR per customer, recurring monthly revenue per subscriber. On the full service, 24/7 monitoring, $6.10. Mind you, these are examples. In reality, what we have with Windstream, we'll get to in a minute, but the numbers are even more impressive. So looking at it in this way, looking at the hardware margin, potential ARM of $800,000 for that $100,000 or 100,000 user penetration. So $800,000 right there for margin on the hardware. On the full service, over 4.7 million on 100,000 subscribers. Similarly, on recurring monthly revenue, on the low end, $135,000 per month in revenue, or $610,000 per month in revenue on the full service. Now that ends up being blended. Same with the annualized recurring revenue, but that is 1.6 million or 6.1 million. And again, blended. This is for only 100,000 subscribers in this example alone. What you see here is how it compounds. So growing at 20% per month of growth rate, which is very realistic. And what we're seeing is we estimate a $4.70 per subscriber per month in revenue. In reality, we're actually much higher than that. We're actually with closer to $8 per unit per month in revenue. And our growth rate just from January to February alone was 59%. February to March was over 20%. So we're seeing growth higher than our assumptions here, but what you're still seeing is over a 2-year period, you're getting recurring monthly revenue over $100,000, annualized revenue over $1.2 million. And this is at much lower estimations from recurring revenue per unit and much lower growth rates than what we are seeing in reality. And what that translates to is what you see here. Because our growth rates are higher, because our average revenue per user is higher, $8 versus $4.70, and 59% month over month, over 20% month over month. Just since September, we've seen over 300,000 of annualized recurring revenue alone. That's from 0 subs with Windstream to where we are at the end of last quarter. Combining that with all of our other inflows of recurring monthly revenue, we're already at more than 1 million of annualized recurring revenue at the end of the previous quarter. Combine these with our expected growth rates, new partners, ProSeeker continue to grow, our partnership with Hyperion that we mentioned here, and that turns into our plan to be cash flow break even by the end of 22, based solely on our recurring monthly revenue. That has nothing to do with our non-recurring engineering fees or our hardware purchases and sales and margins. So by the end of this year, we'll be a cash flow positive company based solely on our recurring monthly revenue. And again, this is on the back of Scout's direct to consumer, our partners such as Zego and ProSeeker, our explosive growth with Windstream, and new planned white label partners here throughout the year, including our resale relationship we're developing with Hyperion. So in summary here, we're multi-pronged, recurring high margin SaaS revenue business, right? We target different sales models, different geos, different channels, and have very high margins on the SaaS portion, as well as very strong margins in the hardware comparatively. We developed lower MOQ buys with our supply base in China and Taiwan and India, which allows us to do semi-custom offering to smaller companies that aren't ready to do a full white label partnership. Our partnership with Windstream has shown up in the market. We've received numerous awards for this, which has given other telco and ISPs that are interested in the DIY home security market, it has shown them that we are the serious player and that they have come directly to us on their RFPs. So we have several partners in the market or in our pipeline currently that are in various stages. We hope to be able to announce more partnerships here throughout the remainder of the 2022 calendar year. And that includes what we're looking at into next generation home security, which is hardwareless home security. So no additional hardware required, no hub, no sensors, just Wi-Fi sensing capabilities that integrate with our security platform, which allows you to tell if people are entering or leaving your house and identify them based on their mobile devices alone. So very exciting stuff coming. Very bright future ahead for Scout for many reasons. A quick note here about our most recent capital raise back in April. So a few weeks ago, we finalized a $400K secured debt facility. So we raised this through one of our earliest investors at Scout and a fund they're involved in. This is being used to help fund the business to get to our next milestones of recurring monthly revenue. And it's a 2-year deed with 7% interest per annum and options priced out at 10 cents. And then last but not least, a quick snapshot of the business. Currently trading at 4.5 cents. We've been around that 4.5, 5 cents for several months now. The board of directors here is with myself on the other side of the screen. Dave Shapiro is one of the co-founders. Martin Pretty is our chairman of the board. Obviously Dan, and then our other 2 directors in Australia, Anthony and Solomon. And with that, I believe I have some time for questions.
Perfect. Thanks for the presentation today, Ryan, and thanks for joining Dan. I think we've got time for 1 or 2 questions. Could you please comment on your philosophy for investing for growth rather than focusing on generating surplus cash?
Yeah, so currently, pretty much everything that we make is invested back into the business, right? Through our people, through new hardware, through new engineering, through adding on program managers to manage our white label partners, as well as customer service. We offer tier 2 and tier 3 customer service through our white label partners, as well as tier 1 through 3 for our direct to consumers. So all of that requires reinvestment to offer the best experience possible to our customers and our white label partners and customers, as well as to continue to grow and evolve our solution to meet the demands and be at the forefront of the industry.
Perfect, thank you. We'll have time for 1 more question. Could you tell us how you've seen the change in Scout's competitive positioning in the last couple of years? What sets Scout apart from its peers in the security sector today with direct to consumer or white label propositions? And where do you see a sustainable competitive advantage going forward? Yeah,
so Scout was at the forefront of DIY home security almost a decade ago, along with some of our main competitors. The main difference was, how we raised our funds and grew the business. Now, today, we made the decision to pivot and go white label before anyone else in the DIY home security market, partnering with others such as Stanley Black & Decker, as well as Zego and some others that we worked with in the past. So because of that and that experience that we built up has allowed us to win the partnership with Windstream. And by winning that partnership with Windstream, it sets us further apart within the industry as being the premier DIY home security offering for white label. So really, we do have competition, but at the moment, I would say there is probably very few in the industry that can actually compete with us when it comes to our knowledge, our skill base, our technology, and especially when it comes to our expertise when it comes to white label.
Thanks for that insight, Ryan. That's all we've got time for. Thank you for your time today and appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Benjo. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.